Like the phone, we're going to begin in a minute. We do have a
Okay.
crowd here as well too. There's a
Okay,
crowd here.
Doc. All right.
Good evening, everyone. Well, good afternoon, everyone.
Okay.
Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon.
panelists. Okay. Messieurs, dames, la société, bonjour. Um, Moi content ouais nous. Oh no, no, you guys will be able to hear me, but yeah, we're yeah. All right, hold on. May you please have a seat, everyone? Thank you so much. Thank you guys for joining us. Messieurs, dames, la société, bonjour. Oh, bon après-midi. Moi content ouais nous. Non, moi c'est Pierre Gédéon. Moi c'est manager opération dans l'Institut études haïtien CUNY dans Brooklyn College. Dans rôle ça, moi travaille dans finance et puis moi aider collègues de travail moi yo avec institut pour yo ka fini projet qui a travaillé sur yo. Dans toute équipe institut moi saluer nous. Moi dis nous merci parce que nous venons aujourd'hui. Avant de commencer avec dialogue espère yo pas le faire, m'a prend un petit moment en plus pour me rappeler nous trois grands objectifs principaux institut a gagné. Premièrement, institut a gagné pour faciliter la richesse soit haïtien à Haïti. Li doit porter coller ak sav ak, ak faire recherche qui pour contribuer pour Haïti vin meilleur pour Haïti ka camper côte à côte avec l'autre pays qui fait progrès, qui travaille pour pays pour peuple pa yo. Deuxièmement, li gen pour li faciliter débat dialogue par bras l'idée ak analyse politique, sociale, culturelle, linguistique, médicale et littéraire qui connecte recherche ak action qui gagne impact positif sur la vie haïtienne tout partout et pour développement et pour progrès Haïti. Troisièmement, un site a gagné pour le camper avec diverses organisations, diverses institutions, diverses monde qui travaillent dans niveau local, national et international pour amélioration conditions la vie haïtienne tout partout. Finalement, nous voulons rappeler toutes instituts, c'est qu'à nous toutes. Jean-Paul Gantet yo dia, droit, pas manger kalalou. Pour nous, bah, institut a plus, j'arrête pour qu'arriver à atteindre l'objectif Lio. Maintenant, de nous toutes, pour nous aider nous, passer institut pour le capi devant. Nous disons merci en pile pour nous, parce que nous venons là avec nous aujourd'hui. We thank everybody, especially those who speaks English. We thank you for this panel that we're putting together with experts that are speaking. And we thank you, for joining us today for this important conversation we're about to have. And as of right now, I'm going to introduce Mines Desjois, who's going to come and speak. He's going to be the moderator of our conversation. He's been an advocate in the community. He's our Creolist. He does incredible amount of work in the Haitian community, especially as it relates to the language, which itself is very important to the people here in this city, since we have a lot of Haitian speaking Creole people in New York City and as well as in the country as itself. We thank him and of course Espace Creole for all the incredible work they've been doing with all the different glossaries, the medical glossaries, the glossaries for immigration and all the other work that they've been doing. And without, further ado, Ménès Desjois, can you please come up? Thank you.
Bonjour, comment vous allez? Napkembe? Est-ce que Napkembe?
Yeah.
en bas tête chargée, ya, avec un peu. Et je suis content, ouais, non? Et je dis à nous rassembler pour un petit chita parler. Ouais, et moi, je suis Mendes Desjoie, and I will serve as the moderator for this conference, which will last about 2 hours. Before we begin, I want to go over some housekeeping issues. Tant pis, fermez le téléphone, no? Please turn off your cell phone or set it on vibrate. And then each presenter in the conference will have a total of 15 minutes for his or her presentation. If you have any questions, I'm going to ask you to write them down and wait until the conference, wait until the presentations are done, because there will be a Q&A session after the presentations. For today's update on the crisis in Haiti, we will have with us three scholars, four Haitian intellectuals who will go over the current situation in Haiti. They are people who are doing research in Haitian history and culture, and who've been monitoring the global turmoil in our beloved nation. We will start with Madame Monique Kleska. Let me tell you who she is. Mrs. Kleska is a writer, a journalist, and an advocate. She has two passions: activism and writing. As an activist, she worked in the field of international development, advocating for children and women's rights, and participated in high-level policy around issues linked to Haiti and Africa. Since her retirement from full-time work at the United Nations in 2016, she has worked as an international consultant, a feminist, pro-democracy, and pro-social justice activist in Haiti. She has been a long-time volunteer of a women-led organization that provides holistic support to girls and women who have suffered domestic and sexual violence. Her second passion is writing. She is the author of two self-published books in French, a novel, La Confession, and a collection of essays, Mosaïque, which is about women affected by human rights violations. She has just finished writing her third book, her memoir, Silence and Resistance, Memoir of a Girlhood in Haiti. Congratulations to Madame Kleska. Madame Kleska will discuss the March 11 agreement, the so-called CARICOM proposal, including the National Unity Administration, the Multi-International Force, the Transition Presidential Council, the roadmap, and possible obstacles on the way. Madame Kleska, Kotenyela, please tell us.
Ouais. Bonsoir et bonjour peut-être. Hello everybody. Thank you for the invitation, and I'm very honored to be able to speak to Brooklyn College. I did so a couple of years ago, so I was really pleased that I was called back. Okay, I think before I get into what was called the March 11th agreement, I think it makes some sense to talk a little bit about the situation on the ground. And very quickly, I know I have 15 minutes. It is a very difficult, very tense, and very catastrophic situation that we are living on the ground. and the macabre it is made to terrorize us. And I think it is important that we know this, that we have this context of what we are dealing with. So people are dying. Yesterday, I went to the market and I passed 2 bodies. And we should not get used to that. And it is part of scaring us, terrifying us. So that is something that must be known. The second thing that must be known also is a lot of this terror, it is a man-made catastrophe. And I think we've got to understand that it is a man-made catastrophe. It is the nexus of political leaders, economic oligarchs or elites, and the gangs. So they built the gangs, a lot of them created the gangs, they armed the gangs to terrorize us. And then what has happened is now the gangs have felt free, the gangs are emboldened, and because government is so inefficient and incompetent, then the gangs have taken over. The situation we have since 29th of February is that the gangs started just taking over streets of Port-au-Prince and, excuse me, shooting at all the various symbols of the state. State university, state hospital, presidential offices, and other state offices. So they were in the streets in the middle of the day. A few days later, they were in the streets, maybe 5 minutes from where I live. They came in the street when we woke up with shooting, they were there. So the gangs control the street. And what we have now are 3 Haitis. We have the Haiti of Port-au-Prince, metropolitan area, which is totally controlled by the gangs. About, I would say 90% controlled by the gangs. That is one part, about 4 million people. We have the southern part, which is mostly cut off in Martissant, which lives more or less peacefully, but with a lot of issues in terms of poverty, economic downturn, because they're not able to send their goods to Port-au-Prince. And so commerce is stopped, basically. And then we have the northern part of Haiti from basically even Luli, Arcaye, and them, where there are some gangs working in the area of La Tibonite, and going to the north, northwest, etc., some parts that are somewhat more peaceful. So I think that is the situation on the ground. In addition, there are maybe about 4 million, meaning about 1/3 of the population that has serious hunger issues. The word famine is being thrown around, but serious hunger issues, malnutrition issues. There are close to 400,000 people who have been displaced by the gangs. When the gangs take over a neighborhood, you see images of people with their bags. They're just going wherever they can go, sometimes family, sometimes in schools, sometimes in buildings. So you have that. You have last year alone, there were about 5,500 women and girls who were sexually abused, raped. Last year alone, 5,500. So you have a catastrophe, a humanitarian disaster, a calamitous situation. And then because the gangs control, shortages, water, some other shortages of food, etc. That is the situation. Now, based on that, and I think it's critical to know that there are root causes for this. And some of the root causes are the massive poverty, the inequality that exists in Haiti, and the failure of the state to provide services. Haitians politicians, once they get in power, don't understand that it is up to them to provide services to the population. So they don't do it. So it's a massive human rights violation in terms of health, education, etc. The whole social justice part of it. So these are the part of the causes. And then you have the fact that the leaders are held up or empowered by the international community, whether it is the United States government, Canadian, French government, the UN, the European Union. So you have that kind of nexus where our leaders are not doing their work. However, they are supported and empowered by the international community. It's important to know that context. The second thing then to know that I will mention very briefly is a solution that was proposed that I was part of, which is called the Montana Agreement. It was proposed in August 2021 after a thorough, really very diverse, very participatory process of listening to various sectors, political and civil society sectors, to hear what they had to say, what they proposed as solutions to resolve the problem of Haiti. Because it is not, as you could say, a political crisis. It is also a humanitarian crisis. It is a justice crisis. It is also a constitutional crisis. So it is a multidimensional crisis. So what has happened since then? There have been different agreements, different people proposing agreements from people who are not Haitian, from the diaspora, from people in Haiti, etc. So what has been done? We have found that it was very difficult to be able to resolve the issue because whoever came to try to mediate was in fact mediating so that Ariel Henry, who was ineffectual, incompetent, and leading a criminal regime, was the one who should have stayed in power. So it was extremely difficult. So in prelude to what was called by the moderator, the March 11th agreement, which is not in fact an agreement at all, was the fact that CARICOM, which is the regional body, because, as you know, throughout the world, there are regional bodies. CARICOM is one, and Haiti is part of CARICOM. CARICOM sent what they call eminent persons, 3 former prime ministers. It did not work because they were not willing to listen to us. We felt they were very arrogant, almost disrespectful of us. And what they wanted was an agreement where Ariel Henry should stay in power. And we had said since last summer that Ariel Henry had to resign because it was inefficient. Too many people were dying. The situation was absolutely horrendous. So after failure of the eminent persons group, and after the control then of Port-au-Prince and of the administration, basically, of Haiti, because they controlled everything, we've been at home for 3 weeks now. Then CARICOM called a meeting on March 11th. At that meeting, CARICOM had asked everyone from Haiti to bring their proposals. We sent our proposal, other groups sent their proposal. CARICOM did a kind of synthesis, clustering the proposals, and then said, this is what we think considers what everybody has said. What they proposed, which the moderator referred to as a March 11th agreement, which is not an agreement at all, it is a proposal of an agreement, is to have a presidential council to lead Haiti and along with a prime minister. This idea of a presidential council that CARICOM put forward is a presidential council of 9 persons, 7 who can vote, 2 who are observers. And they came from different parties, left, right, center, as well as civil society, private sector, etc. One of the things that CARICOM said in it also is that whoever signs this must also accept that there will be a multinational security mission. So that is proposed. And ever since then, for the last 2.5 weeks, the groups that had proposed have identified the person that they felt should represent them in the presidential council. And ever since then, they have been working. When I said they have been working, the negotiators, as well as the person who is mandated by them. So we're talking about 9 groups. You have probably heard there are people who were nominated, who came out, who nominated again, who resigned, etc. But bottom line, in the last 2.5 weeks, they have been working. They have been working on what? They have been working on 3 items. One of them is the accord, the agreement that Haitians believe should be the agreement that we decide on, not what CARICOM said, because CARICOM really had only 2 or 3 points, including this idea of the multi-security mission. So we are working on the agreement that we Haitians want, which include a national conference, which include the Truth and Reconciliation Committee, which include also the aspect of perhaps not a referendum, but revising the Constitution. So it involves these things. The second point that people are working on is the functioning of this presidential council. And the third thing that is being worked on is a roadmap for the first 100 days. So the March 11th agreement was what CARICOM thought of, but us in Haiti, we are working on our own agreement, which we are about to present to the nation. So I wanted to make that difference, and I think it's critical to know that difference. Now, having said this, what are some of the big issues with it? As I mentioned, the gangs take over, so the security is one huge issue. Security of people, the ones who will be in the presidential council, the one who will be prime minister, whether a man or a woman. So that's one aspect. The second big issue is going to be the humanitarian situation, which I described. When you have 4 million people who are going hungry at night, you have close to 400,000 who are displaced. Where do they go? Some have gone to the provinces, some are in Port-au-Prince proper, some are in the streets, and the rainy season is about to start. And then elections. Anytime you talk about elections in Haiti, it takes about 18 months to prepare it. So if we count from now to 18 months, even if we were to come the presidential council and the prime minister in power now, you need 18 months to make it happen. So these are the emergencies. These are the thick, huge issues that one has to deal with, whoever comes into this and all of us. And some of the major challenges also are what? You put 9 people together, who some of them are to the left of the political spectrum, some of them are to the right of the political spectrum, some of them are telling you we're not anywhere, we are, the neutral, or we are in the center, and they have not worked together, and you are asking them to work together and to come together. And CARICOM had said 24 hours. Took 24 hours to even get to know who is who, etc. So these are major challenges, and some of them have heavy past. So it is a huge challenge. I think time also is a huge challenge in terms of the expectations are so high on everyone. The needs are so immense that one has to see what can be done in that time. And then in conclusion, the biggest one is how to pacify the country, how to get peace and security. I do not know how that is going to be done, but that is certainly one of the major things. So I can come back for more questions, but I wanted to at least explain what is going on. The second one, in terms of an accord that was proposed, the Haitian solution, which you can find on www.accordmontana.ht, and the solution, which is not an agreement, but which was proposed based on our proposals and what we're doing right now at the 3 levels. So thank you for having listened, and I am willing and able to wait and respond to questions, and I look forward also to hear the other panelists. So again, thank you for having invited me and having listened.
Merci. Merci en pile, Madame Kliska. Merci en pile. Merci en pile. Now we want to welcome our next presenter, Dr. Nathalie Frédéric Pierre. Bonjour, Nathalie. Nathalie Frédéric Pierre is an assistant professor of history at Howard University. She earned her PhD from NYU, New York University, and her field of expertise is the history of the African diaspora in the Caribbean and Latin America. She is currently writing her first book, The Vessel of Independence Must Save Itself, Haitian State Formation, 1757-1815. The book focuses on the political thought of Haitian statesmen seeking to preserve freedom and independence for emancipated Haitians in a world still reliant on enslaved labor. From 2011 through 2017, Dr. Pierre served as the board chair of Flamboyant Haitian Literacy Project, an immigrant education advocacy group serving migrant Haitian teens and their families. She has given numerous lectures in Haitian Creole and English. Today, Dr. Pierre will discuss the historical roots of the multi-dimensional crisis causing disruptions and havoc in our beloved Haiti. Dr. Pierre, nous comptons well. Jouet pour.
Merci en pile, Menes. I must thank Dr. Lily Serra and her team at the Haitian Studies Institute for cultivating a space that invites grassroots intellectuals, students, and academics to think through this pivotal moment. I am deliberately disciplining myself to remain in the corridors of the 19th century. I will share 2 to 3 examples from Haitian economic history to foreground how the crisis unfolding today is rooted in the genesis of the Haitian state and unsuccessful attempts to provide for the nation's African-born majority. Ki donc, gouvernement en Haïti te décidé appliquer yon taxe 10% sous toute importation yo. Ma pale nan époque de Saline nan. Mais ça, c'est juste yon débit. Yo te gen tout système tarif ak frais pour chaque aspect nan commerce la, ton kou si yo te vle micromanager économie en tout entier. Mais malheureusement, gouvernement de Saline, c'est 18 mois seulement li te genyen, so tout ça m'a expliqué, c'est plan yo te genyen, mais plan yo te déchappé. Kounya m'pral retourner dans anglais parce que m'ta vle tout moun nan salle lan comprendre yon ti morceau nan sa m'a di. For example, they set prices for things like dock laborers' wages and exemptions for locals near the river. And when it comes to storing foreign boats, they had a tiered payment system based on the side of the ships. Sa ki intéressant, c'est là ou gade chiffre sa yo, ou est différence fort en moun qui différent excusez, ou est différence tarif yo pour moun qui différent et puis prix yo te paye pour yo mette bateau yo en dans Haïti. Gros blanc yo qui te gen pi gros bateau yo te paye 64 goud, ton coût c'est pas rien. Pendant que travaillait dock yo te souffri pour 6 goud, pour servis yo. Ki servis yo tap fe? Yo tap triye kafe an, yap desen mon nan avek kafe an, epi yap mette kafe an nan bato moun yo, epi yap retire prodi ke blanc étranger an tap mene yo. Nan exemple ma bay lan, nan epok sa, se anglais yo ki te pi asiste Haiti nan komes an ba gouvernement de Saline nan. Document sa pa jis sou logistik komes la, yo se yon fenet nan la vi moun ki te fe pati nan sistem sa. Se yon rale sou inegalite ak batay moun ki te sou teren an, eseye fe yon la vi nan yon sistem ki souvan te favorize riche sou pov. Kounyan pral entre nan deuxième exemple lan, map komanse nan anglais. Robert Southern, unlike many other British folks who did business in 19th century Haiti and left without an archival mark, this guy, Robert Sutherland, stands out. Back in June of 1805, he's listed as living in Jamaica after having gone bankrupt in a London court. But fast forward to his death in 1828, and he's left a whopping 300 enslaved workers behind in Jamaica for his heirs. When slavery was abolished in the 1830s across the British Caribbean, his descendants got a hefty sum of around 8,000 British pounds as compensation for losing their human property. In 2024, that's about 288,000 pounds, which in turn is valued at about 366,000 US dollars. So for those 308 people in 1828, his descendants earned about 366 US dollars today. So I really want to emphasize this point because when we're thinking about the current crisis in Haiti, it is based on who can best exploit the majority of the nation's African-born who were fighters during the Haitian Revolution. Now, I argue that Sutherland's journey from being a broke Scotsman to a big shot benefactor all comes down to the trade deals he struck up with the early leaders of Haiti. Michel Trio tipped us off to his presence in Pétion's Senate, where in 1808, smack dab in the middle of Haiti's second civil war, and I would argue that we are currently entering into a civil war phase in Haiti, the senators of the First Haitian Republic were scrambling to raise funds for a military campaign against Christophe. I know the audience that I'm speaking to, I don't need to explain the nuances of the Haitian civil war that happened after Dessalines' assassination. Pétion Senate called up all the merchants, Haitian and foreigners, to chip in. And who steps up for the foreign merchants? You guessed it, Sutherland. He offered to loan money to the government, which basically edged out the Haitian merchants' offer. So this is an example, yet again, of how foreign intervention is narrating how the Haitian state unfolds. Fast forward to the next year, Sutherland is writing to the British ministers of trade, asking them to tell the criminals who wear cravats in the Royal Navy to keep an eye on British interest in Jamaica. Sutherland, the merchant who sold Haitian coffee to the world, saw a golden opportunity in Haiti. However, people investing in Haiti were getting jittery about Emperor Dessalines' plan to break up the big plantations with his land reforms. So Sutherland figures, since he's dealing with such big ticket items, namely textiles, and there's no easy way to keep tabs on what he's up to, why not have the Royal Navy do a monthly check-in on Dessalines? That way, Dessalines would understand the British government had an eye to protect its merchants and its national interest. I sincerely hope that some of this language is resonant as to what it is that we have learned about Haitian history after the 19th century. So in this letter, Sutherland goes from talking about buying coffee to calling in for a military intervention. Just on this one trading trip, the cargo of the ship was worth 100 grand. There were big stakes involved, and he saw that the British military was the easiest way to secure his investment and to create in Haiti a safe place to invest European money. The British were laying the groundwork for the gunboat diplomacy moves we'd see from the United States and Germany later in the 1800s. And the fact that Sutherland had the guts and actually got military intervention from the biggest imperial army in the Caribbean and the world says a lot. It shows that Haiti wasn't just off on its own, but it was being watched closely as sort of a quarantined neo-colony in the 19th century. So I'll conclude here. Sutherland's interest in Haiti's business scene in the early 1800s shatters a few myths about Haiti after the revolution. First off, the 12-year revolution did not kill off Haiti's exporting. Second, even without official trade deals with the big Atlantic powers, Haiti's stuff was still in demand. In fact, Haitian coffee was sipped by 2/3 of the global market until the 1880s, when Venezuela and Brazil took over. And third, this trade was lucrative enough to get military muscle on board, even with all the politics going on. And this is a brief vignette from the 19th century, which I think provides a little bit of context of what we're seeing here now. And I just like to pause here to continue learning from my fellow panelists. Thank you.
Merci, merci en pile, Nathalie. Merci. Now, we're going to have Dr. Jemima Pierre. Dr. Pierre, bonjour. Dr. Pierre is a professor of global race in the Institute of Race, Gender, Sexuality, and Social Justice at the University of British Columbia. She's also doing research. She's a research associate at the Center for the Study of Race, Gender, and Class at the University of Johannesburg. Trained as a socio-cultural anthropologist in the African Diaspora Program at the University of Texas, she does research across 3 different fields: the relationship of political economy to race as articulated through capitalism, white supremacy, and imperialism. 2, the migration, transnationalism, and diaspora. 3, the ethics and politics of Western knowledge production and disciplinary formation. Dr. Pierre has published essays and articles on a variety of subjects, including race and colonialism, the history of politics of US imperialism in Haiti and the Caribbean, and she's also the author of The Predicament of Blackness, Post-Colonial Ghana, and the Politics of Race. Dr. Pierre, please tell us, with friends like Canada, the United States of America, and France, does Haiti need enemies? What role, if any, have the post-colonial nations played and continue to play in the downward spiral of Haiti? How did Haiti become a failed state, or is it a failed state? You have 15 minutes.
So that's a short time for all those questions, but thank you so much, everyone. I'm happy to be here with you all, and I'd like to first thank Lily Selat and the CUNY Haitian Studies Institute for having me, and I'm glad to be on a panel with all of you all. It's great to be on a panel with all Haitian people for once, and happy to be here. I have my comments are written, so I will try to answer those questions through these comments, and hopefully we can get into more during question and answer. Okay, yesterday, the UN Security Council finally passed a ceasefire vote to try and stop Israel's genocide of Palestinians. This was the sixth attempt to get a ceasefire since Israel's brutal military campaign that has left almost 40,000 dead, the majority of women and children. It was the sixth attempt because the United States had vetoed all calls for an immediate ceasefire, and it passed because for the first time the US abstained instead of vetoing. But what is significant is that immediately after its abstention, the US insisted that the vote in the UN Security Council, presumably the highest political body in the world, was non-binding. In other words, the US is unilaterally claiming that although it was passed by the majority of the UN Security Council, Resolution 2728 does not need to be followed because and therefore has no impact on its policy or the legacy of this continued genocide. The US then has undermined the very legitimacy of the UN. Now, what does this have to do with Haiti? Everything. Many of us have always said that the UN and other Western-led so-called international institutions were established after World War II to control the post-World War II world, to shape it for continued European and Western and US control. If that was not clear before, then Haiti provides a perfect example of this reality. Haiti is and has been a laboratory for US imperial machinations. To not acknowledge this key reality is to ensure that Haiti remains under foreign control. My short comments today focus on the general refusal to acknowledge that since 2004, Haiti has been under foreign occupation, initiated by a US, France, and Canada-led coup d'etat, and adopted and managed by the machinery of the United Nations. The simple facts of both the coup and the violence of the international legal mechanisms used against Haiti and its people have been shamefully ignored. What enables the refusal to acknowledge the current occupation of Haiti? I argue that what obscures this occupation's existence is both how the occupation was established and how it is administered. I also argue that the 2004 coup d'etat, planned and enabled by the US, France, and Canada, has been one of the most consequential events in Haiti's current history. Haiti lost its nominal sovereignty in 2004 through the US-Canada coup. The nature of the legitimization of the coup by the UN through the deployment of so-called peacekeeping troops and via long-term occupation allows it both to not be perceived as a coup and for the foreign occupation to not be understood as occupation. Three important points need to be made about the deployment of UN peacekeeping mission to Haiti in 2004 that established this occupation. First, it was the permanent members of the UN Security Council, France and the US, which played a key role in backing and aiding the removal of the sitting president. The UN Security Council, it must be remembered, is the only body with the power to deploy a multinational peacekeeping mission. Second, there is the illegality of the peacekeeping mission based on a set of illegal actions and false premises. So I'm going to here provide two specific examples. So for example, in January 2003, you have the Ottawa Initiative, a meeting in Ottawa, Canada, where representatives of US, France, and Canada met without any Haitian representation and decided that they would support a regime change and put the country under tutelage. In a later interview, Canadian Minister Denis Paredes, who participated in these conversations, confirmed the meeting and said that it was not so much as putting Haiti under tutelage, but that his white friends in Ottawa asked, quote, "Is state sovereignty immutable?" In other words, they asked in Haiti's case, is sovereignty really sovereignty? End quote. By another example is February 25th, 2004, 4 days before the coup, French Foreign Minister Dominique Villepin had already sent a formal statement to other members of the UN Security Council asking the UN to prepare for this regime change and said that the UN needed to do two things for this preparation: to already set up an immediate international military force to go, and two, to prepare a presidential election in Haiti to prepare for a presidential election by establishing an electoral commission and organizing this is February 25th, organizing an international observer mission. And finally, I think, the third and perhaps most egregious point, the so-called Haitian interim government that the UN Security Council claimed to have asked for a stabilization force in 2004 was illegitimate. Against Haiti's constitution, it was the installed prime minister instead of the interim president, both installed by the same groups, I should say, France, Canada, and the US, that made a request for this mission and to give the UN full immunity. This, in other words, the UN deployment and occupation based on a coup d'etat sponsored by the two states of the UN Security Council, the claims that the president resigned and the illegal swearing of an illegitimate head of state all were fraudulent. To add insult to injury, most of the UN resolutions refer to securing Haiti's sovereignty, as if sovereignty could coexist with foreign political control and military occupation. This is especially since the UN's core group continues to be the arbiter of colonial and direct rule of Haiti today. But the other reason is that Haiti's current occupation Haiti's sovereignty was extinguished by a multiracial coalition of Caribbean, Latin American, and African countries. I think this is the most sinister part of this occupation. The current US goal, for example, to use Kenya and other Caribbean countries really show us the effort that the occupation is a multilateral one. We also must point to the coordinated work among US institutions, the US State Department, the US intelligence apparatus, and the so-called aid network, this vast aid network, for continuing to maintain the ideological work of US imperialism in Haiti through its civil society funding. There's also the Western media, which is predisposed to very racist textual and pictorial representations of Haiti. So US, France, and Canada's actions in Haiti over the past 20 years demonstrate that the Haiti sovereignty has been snuffed out. And the US imperial actions in Haiti have continued to fundamentally shape the internal dynamics, the national terrains of class and color conflict, of politics and culture, of accommodation and resistance. To me, the multinational Western-led occupation of Haiti that began in 2004 and that continues should be considered the most successful exercise of neo-imperial sabotage. And it was done with the support of the world. Today, most people in the world do not understand that Haiti is currently under occupation. Meanwhile, we are told that there are CARICOM-led set of discussions, when in reality, CARICOM does not act without the say of the core group. In fact, it was the core group, US, France, Canada, Brazil, that first met to work out a plan for Haiti based on US terms before bringing in the chosen Haitian representation in the latest round of discussions. So when we speak of gangs, we must also recognize that the most powerful gangs in the country are the subsidiaries of US itself, the United Nations Integrated Office and BNU office in Haiti, and the core group, the two colonial entities that have effectively ruled the country since 2004. It is this gang, the core group and its installed puppets, along with the UN office in Haiti, that is insisting on a violent solution to the crisis in Haiti, a crisis that they themselves helped create. For those of us who live in the diaspora, in the heart of empire, we have the duty to point out the ways that the US in particular has worked and continues to work to sabotage Haitian sovereignty and dignity. We have the duty to be clear-eyed about the reality that the US, Canada, and especially France's engagement with Haiti is not benevolence. We have the duty to use the resources available to us to call out the racism, hypocrisy of the US empire, and we have the duty to look for empire's contradictions to push for the true freedom of our country. If we don't take the time to understand how US empire works, to understand how the true gangsters of the world are the ones in suits wreaking havoc around the globe, we will never be free. Thank you. Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Vous entendez-nous? Yeah, I don't know when the tape stopped. Did you get all of it, or should I start halfway, or what do you think?
We got all of it. Keep going.
Qui côté dit campé qui
On arrive quand on a parlé de Dominique de Villepin, c'est dernier parti ça.
Voilà.
Oh, ok, ok, ok. Ok, ma continue, ma fait bien vite, ma couper, ma fini parce que, ok, t'as parlé de Dominique de Villepin, bon, ouais, ok. Oui, c'est, it was Dominique de Villepin had already written a statement to the UN Security Council to prepare for this regime change. Entendez-moi toujours? Okay. Okay, so finally, and perhaps the most egregious point of the so-called interim government that the UN Security Council claimed to have asked for a stabilizing force was illegitimate. Against Haiti's constitution, it was the installed prime minister instead of the president that asked for the UN mission and gave the UN full immunity. In other words, the UN deployment and occupation based on a coup d'etat sponsored by 2 states of the UN Security Council and the illegal swearing in of an illegitimate head of state in 2004 were fraudulent. To add insult to injury, most of the UN resolutions refer to securing Haiti's sovereignty, as if sovereignty could coexist with foreign political control and military occupation. So we must also, but another reason that the current occupation is not deemed an occupation is that Haiti's sovereignty was extinguished by a multiracial coalition of Caribbean, Latin American, and African countries. And I think this is the most sinister and effective aspect of it. And the current goal to use Kenya and other Caribbean countries in the effort really hide the fact that this is a US-UN occupation. I also pointed out that we must point out the coordinated work among US institutions, the US State Department, the intelligence apparatus, the Mammoth Aid Network, for example. It's no secret that the CIA front the National Endowment for Democracy continues to do the ideological work of US imperialism through its funding of some civil society groups. There's also the Western media, of course, which we know is predisposed to certain racist textual and pictorial representations of Haiti. And a review of more than 200 years of Western media coverage of Haiti would reveal the same language that we see today about Haiti as a place of violence, chaos, cannibalism, savagery, anarchy, etc. So the US, France, and Canada's actions in Haiti over the past 20 years demonstrate the country's critical place as a laboratory for US and Western imperialism. And these actions continue to shape the internal dynamics in Haiti, the national terrain of class and color conflict, of politics and culture, of accommodation and resistance. To me, the multinational Western-led occupation of Haiti that continues should be considered the most successful exercise of neo-imperial sabotage. Today, most people in the world do not understand that Haiti is currently under occupation. Meanwhile, we are told that there are CARICOM-led set of discussions when in reality, CARICOM does not act without the say-so of the core group. In fact, it was the core group, US, France, Canada, and Brazil, that first met in Jamaica 2 weeks ago to set out a plan for Haiti based on US terms before bringing in chosen Haitian representation. So when we speak of gangs, we must also recognize that the most powerful gangs in the country are subsidiaries of the US itself, the United Nations Integrated Office, BNU, and the core group, the two colonial entities that have effectively ruled the country since 2004. It is this gang, the core group and its installed puppets, who, along with the UN office, that insists on a violent solution to the current crisis, a crisis that they helped themselves create. So for those of us who live in diaspora, in the heart of empire, we have a duty to point out the ways that the US in particular has worked and continues to work to sabotage Haitian sovereignty and dignity. We have the duty to be clear-eyed about the reality that US, Canada, and especially France's engagement with Haiti is not benevolent. We have the duty to use the resources available to us to call out the racism, hypocrisy of the US empire. And we have the duty to look for empire's contradictions to push for the true freedom of our country. If we don't take the time to understand how the US empire works, to understand how the true gangsters of the world are the ones in suits wreaking havoc around the globe, we will never be free. Thank you.
Merci en pile. Oui. Yeah, yo di la vérité pas gen menti la donne non, on voit donc depuis c'est dans vérité ou en forme tout menti pas fond. Et pour hier nous pas parler contre Georges parce que nous connaissons Georges déjà. OK? Dr. Georges Eugène Fouon. Okay, he's been an educator for more than 4 decades. He's currently a professor of Africana Studies at Stony Brook University. He's co-authored George Woke Up Laughing, Long Distance Nationalism and the Search for Home. That book has made a significant and lasting contribution to understanding the Haitian American experience in both Haitian studies and the fields of sociology and anthropology. As a teacher, Dr. Fouon speaks powerfully to the complexities of racial politics, calling attention to the Haitian diaspora and issues of transformation. This is the guy we need this morning, right? Dr. Georges Eugène Fouon will explore the intersection or the intersections of transnationalism and the collapse of the Haitian state. Georges.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for inviting me. And I will read my presentation. The title of my presentation is The Root Causes of Haiti's Predicament. To fully understand Haiti's actual predicament, we need to analyze its place in the global system as it is trapped in its outer periphery, as Professor Fatten has so aptly put it in his book of the same title. According to Robert Maguire, the specialist of Haitian cited by Fatten, when we look at the statistics of inequalities that characterize Haitian society, we discover that in 2009, for example, quote, of all the world's countries, Haiti had the second largest overall income gap between the very rich and the very poor. More than 68% of total national income accrued to the wealthiest 20% of the population, while less than 1.5% of national income accumulated among the poorest 20%. Of the aforementioned 78% of its population earning less than $2 a day, 56 had to do with less than $1 a day. In rural Haiti, where 69% of its population of 9.7 million at that time lived, income extremes of destitution were even greater. 86% of the population earned less than $2 a day, and 69% less than $1 a day. Although life in the countryside was then bleak, Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, was no land of milk and honey. One prominent businessman estimated that as many as 300,000 of the then 2.5 million or 3 million people residing in the metropolitan area at that time woke up every day without a penny in their pocket. End of quote. Yet, for most of the 19th and the 20th centuries, Haiti had two conflicting representations in the eyes of the world. Celebrated as the first slave society in modern times that freed its population from the fetters of vassalage, bondage, and white supremacy, Haiti enjoyed great prestige among the oppressed populations around the globe. Oppressed populations as close as the South American Spanish colonies and as far as Greek and Algeria sought Haiti to help secure their freedom. Indeed, the symbolic power of a Black nation state that was burdened in a successful slave revolution, undermining the military might of France, resonated among the most powerful nations of the period. Haiti's victory over France was a sociological apex, an event so uncommon that it occurs hardly ever. For that reason, most of the imperialist and racist world of the period was against it. In addition, post-slavery internationalists has reason for concern because for free and enslaved Black people, Haiti had become a single beacon of liberty. In fact, it encouraged other visions of emancipation and emboldened champions of racial equality. At the same time, soon after the triumph of the revolution, it failed an experiment in Black freedom and autonomy because through the years, the population has been vassalized anew by its local elites and their international allies. Indeed, while the Haitian Revolution transformed the life realities of the Saint-Domingue slaves by liberating them from human bondage, tyranny, and despotism, it failed to resolve the fundamental issues it sought to address. While it made them citizens, it did not give them social justice, the right of political participation, social equality with other members of the nation, and political power. The political system the former slaves established in Haiti in 1804, after the improbable achievement of the revolution, was simply in its outlook and government's modality to such an extent to the colonial regime that Haiti has been designated as the most unequal country in the Western Hemisphere, a country that hosts two desperate societies in an official apartheid. According to the World Bank Fact Book, 80% of its population lives under the poverty line and 55% lives in abject poverty. The question is, why is that Haiti's spectacular feat evolved into an equally spectacular failure? In answering this question, we argue that the roots of Haitian dismal conditions are both internal and external. First, there was the perennial controversies of skin color and class that had generated deep-seated social and enduring chasms between the financial and political elite and the Black masses and the peasantry, comprised of the mulâtres and the progenies of the Martian class of Arabs, French, German, and Italian immigrants who had moved to Haiti at the beginning of the 19th century. The light-skinned bourgeoisie, in alliance with international forces that were hostile to it, monopolized the state. At the same time, the bourgeois co-opted the small group of Black politicians, professionals, and intellectuals who had no wealth, but who had some political power through the politique de doublure, or politics by understudy. During the first decade of the 20th century, first American bankers, financiers, and investors, supported by the US State Department and the First National City Bank of New York, the actual Citibank, displaced the French who controlled the banking and financial sectors, and the Arabs and Germans who had established a stranglehold over the commercial sector and replaced them as the kingmakers in Haitian politics. Thereafter, they financed many coups d'etat that made it impossible for the Haitian state to perform as a protector and purveyors of goods and services to the population. Second, with unmitigated impunity, the financial elites enjoyed excessive social privileges, extreme financial advantages, and total economic dominance because their foreign contacts gave them access to foreign capitals, which allowed them to manipulate and control the overall political conjuncture. Third, there was the all-powerful, brutal, and repressive army, its police force, and the rural police, who endeavored to maintain the status quo in favor of the dominant classes at the detriment of the rest of the population. In that equation, the Haitian army, as it received its orders from the US Embassy in Port-au-Prince, became the final decider and arbiter of who would hold office and who would not. Fourth, for the preceding 1946-1956 decade, foreign stakeholders of all stripes who had accredited themselves with the missions of civilizing and modernizing the country had invaded it and had turned it into a case study of bad governments and financial stagnation without any significant positive results. During that period, Haiti had become a country of projects for numerous international government and private organizations. The private acronyms began in 1946, and it continued thereafter to control the status quo in Haiti and not to give the Haitians a real voice in the affairs. And of course, you have the machinations of the French clergy that try to censor or to eliminate Creole and Voodoo, for example, to establish the old modalities of governance in Haiti. So what we have seen these issues affecting Haitian society, we consider these factors as at the core of the roots of the situation that we are experiencing now. We can understand now why we have extreme social explosion in Haiti. While we would like to see a different reaction for the population in response to years of neglect, oppression, exploitation, we understand why the actual situation has unraveled to the extent that it has, it is evident that the groups that are disturbing the social order do not have the means and the wherewithal to address Haiti's profound social chasm. Also, it is unfortunate that the international community, in alliance with some sectors of the Haitian leadership, have continued to keep the blinders on by proposing the solution to the situation without consulting the Haitian people. Unfortunately, we predict that these efforts and initiatives will not make a dent in the dismal conditions the population is living under. If anything else, they will make it worse. Thank you. Hello?
Thank you. Dr. Fouon, merci en pile. Merci en pile. Nous finissons avec présentation. We've had 4 presentations and we started with an update from Haiti. And then we looked at the genesis of the crisis, the different dualities, and then foreign intervention, corruption, and these are all factors contributing to the state, to failing the Haitian state, basically. And we have reached the end of the presentations, and we will open the floor for questions. All questions and comments are welcome, but I'm going to ask you to be brief because the people will be attending the conference online. We'll also send their questions. So, je vais être pour nous. Je vais être pour nous. Et Dr. Saint-Paul, il y a une question? Yeah, c'est bon ici pour venir. Pour venir poser question. Tout le monde est capable.
Et m'a dit bonsoir à tout le monde et puis m'a remercié tous les 4 panélistes yo pour contribution yo et dans la conférence ça. Moi c'est Jean-Eddy Saint-Paul, moi c'est professeur ici dans le département sociologie et moi vraiment apprécié façon nous chaque nous bail perspective nous. Mais moi-même comme sociologue, moi gagne simplement commentaire. Moi pensais que quel qu'en soit problème là, depuis nous pas bien diagnostiquer problème là, nous pas joindre solution problème là. L'intervention moi entendez là, il y a une intervention qui ont certaines tendances pour moraliser communauté internationale là, alors que pays nous prend naissance dans un contexte côté communauté internationale là. En 1804, il n'y a pas de gens moral, c'était une communauté internationale qui était hostile envers Haïti parce que projet société nous t'est porté philosophiquement, sociologiquement, politiquement, économiquement, c'est un projet société qui t'a dérangé l'ordre capitaliste qui sont capitalistes racialisés, j'en nous tous nous connaissons là. Et en 2024, je dis à 26 mars 2024, c'est toujours même communauté internationale ça avec même philosophie. Donc, dans ce sens, ça me pense pour nous jouer une solution haïtienne, faut nous changer de discours là. Et me pense discours qui pi adéquat là, c'est un discours que personnellement moi-même comme sociologue moi traité dans le travail moi avant moi j'étais un professeur Jean Casimir dans thèse doctorale que lui présenté dans l'Université nationale autonome du Mexique qui relève la cultura oprimida. Professeur Jean Casimir lui présenté lui. C'est un problème qui gagne et Nathalie Frédéric Pierre li souligne li et puis professeur Joyce Fouron tout li manien li tout. Problème qui gagne nous gon problème côté en Haïti depuis l'État a créé, il y a un conflit entre l'État avec nation et Michel Wolf tout li adressé li dans Haiti the state against the nation. Donc là ça moi t'avais dit comme commentaire pour me barrer trop long. Moi penser pour nous bien comprendre problème pays d'Haïti, il y a une théorie que me développe dans le travail moi qui relève la théorie des forces sociales. Côté qui montre que il y a une alliance qui fait entre un déficit élite locale, yo. Ça, Jean Price, en 1919, il était adressé dans la vocation de l'élite. Parce que nous pas qu'à toujours à moraliser la communauté internationale là, qui pas gens moral, pendant que nous pas nous déresponsabiliser élite locale, yo. Problème nous gagnons, son problème élite locale, yo toujours utilisé la politique comme un moyen pour yo remplir vente qui c'est sujet thèse doctorat moins en bas vente côté l'état yo comme espace de privilège et jusqu'à présent nous capable même pour formation conseil présidentiel là c'est toujours même logique ça qui gagne. Alors, ça m'a dit pour me finir, moi, je pense que l'important, oui, discours anti-impérialiste, l'important, par exemple, professeur, tant que j'ai mis ma pierre, nous-mêmes qui c'est petit Haïti, les nous gagnons audience dans la démocratie avec l'autre forum, faut nous porter discours ça, mais tout comme intellectuel, faut nous très honnête et rester objectif parce que si nous faisons un diagnostic partiel de problème, non, nous pas jamais vraiment jouer une solution au problème. Ce n'est pas une question, c'est simplement un commentaire. Merci en pile.
OK, merci. Merci, Dr. Saint-Paul. Et il y a une question, l'autre question dans la salle là. Et Ginette, c'est pour venir là, oui, c'est là pour venir, oui. C'est pour monter terrain. Hein. Parce que il n'y a pas qu'attendre aussi. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
And thank you so much. Nous avons l'opportunité ça. Question ça c'est pour Monique Lescalier, là, ouais. Monique. OK, Monique. Et m'entend des discours là très bien, là, vrai. Et m'ta capote certaines analyses. Ça me question d'ailleurs me pose là c'est que nous premièrement c'est nous-mêmes en Haïti qui involve CARICOM dans le process là, vrai? Est-ce que c'est eux-mêmes qui viennent de plein gré ou sinon c'est nous qui mandons avec cacophonie en Haïti, pas vrai? Bagay tête en bas, tout pour nous faire des ordres, a dit ça ouvler, pas vrai? Yo pas respecter monde. Est-ce que qui situation qui position qu'on prend dans dialogue qu'on fait que ça fait là?
Mais oui, Madame Kliska, vous êtes capable de répondre à une question ça?
Oui,
Vous
je
avez
pense
une
que
question?
peut-être que si je comprends bien, il y a deux questions. Il y a une question justement de CARICOM et puis il y a une question position personnelle PAM. Bon, moi impliqué moi-même depuis 2021 dans un groupe qui relève commission pour recherche d'une solution haïtienne à la crise. Donc, nous passons 6 mois, nous avons développé un accord lancé accord Montana, et donc position est très clairement là-dedans, puisque moi impliqué en tant que citoyenne engagée dans joindre une solution haïtienne à crise. Nous travaillons et depuis quand même pratiquement 2 ans et demi, nous travaillons avec différents, que c'est diplomatie, que c'est au niveau communication, que c'est au niveau même mobilisation, nous travaillons justement pour nous capables de faire valoir la nécessité pour que capable bon solution qui sorti dans vote haïtien et justement que solution ça c'est 2 ans pour une transition et l'impliquer tout la question de une conférence nationale, li gen de éléments de justice et de justice sociale dans feuille de route que nous-mêmes nous élaborons et qu'on dit gen un site web qui gen pratiquement un paquet d'informations sous travail que n'a fait depuis 6 mars 2021. Donc ça position là-dedans, li marié avec, li me défend li et me fait plaidoyer pour ça, moi pleinement impliqué dans une lutte justement qui est là-dedans tout, qui est une lutte pour une souveraineté pour rapatrier justement et non seulement problème nous mais résolution de problème nous. Donc ça c'est la réponse à moi-même position PAM. Deuxièmement, je pense que tu as une question sur la CARICOM. Je pense que faut que nous allions avant la CARICOM. Parce que dans tout travail que nous avons fait, et qui est lié à ça, je pense que tout le monde dit que c'est Mima, que c'est Catherine, et peut-être moins trompé, Nathalie, pardon, que c'est professeur Fouron, que effectivement, Haïti, nous avons indépendance, mais nous pas indépendants, puisque nous dépendons de l'international. Et je pensais que j'ai tracé très bien et comment nous dépendons. Et c'est pas que nous m'en dépendons, non, mais que de fait, c'est ça lié. Et je pense que c'est important tout pour que vraiment, et leader que nous gagnons, et certainement depuis 2011, et leader pas affirmé indépendance nous par rapport à justement communauté internationale ça yo. Donc qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? Ça veut dire que gon plaidoyer pour mener et nous-mêmes n'a fait plaidoyer ça depuis combien de temps et nous dit de manière très clairement que faut qu'Haïti t'ait changé, faut qu'on gouvernance différente qui pas une gouvernance criminelle, mais obligé tout parler avec l'international, puisque l'international tellement présent, et c'est international qui mettait Ariel Henry, qui te mettait là, et c'est international là, à un moment qui dit pour l'aller. Même temps, des milliers et des milliers d'Haïtiens à travers tout le pays ont levé campé pour dire pour te aller depuis des mois et des mois. Accord Montana, que me fait partie de l'IA, te dit depuis août 2023. Donc, ça veut dire certainement plus de 6 mois. Mais c'est l'international, la guerre que effectivement li bail des missions. Donc, pour me arriver dans CARICOM, non, faut que moi dis que dans toute discussion que nous fait avec international, c'est justement pour chita, pour nous dire mes solutions que nous gagnons, mes propositions que nous gagnons. Nous parler avec Ariel Henry. Ariel Henry, pas jamais voulu nous discuter et éventuellement conseil présidentiel, ça pas intéressé. Nous discuter budget, justement, pour conseil l'antac travail, ça pas intéressé. Nous discuter qui côté pour conseil l'antac chita, qui prérogatif que conseil l'antac gagné, ça pas intéressé. Donc, États-Unis te voyé un médiateur qui te relé Jonathan Powell, un monsieur qui gagne un groupe qui fait médiation à travers le monde. Mais États-Unis voyait lui pour faire médiation, discuter avec elle, et faire avancer ça, nous gagne pour nous dire, pas rien qui marchait parce que mettre Ariel Henry pot codil pour l'être capable et avancer pour être capable de faire de concessions ou autre. Ça, c'est une. Après, donc, yo vin voyer CARICOM que Haïti fait partie là-dedans, à ce moment-là, vin impliqué avec ça yorele de Eminent Persons Group. Eminent Persons Group yo, vini en Haïti. Et à ce moment-là, en Haïti, ils ont commencé à discuter mes positions que ils ont gagnées. C'était position internationale. Pas de solution sans Ariel Henry. Tout ça nous dit, tout ça nous fait, toute manifestation, c'est ça ils ont kembe. Jusqu'à ce que crise la vini, envenimé, jusqu'à ce que Kounia gang yo rentré dans pratiquement tout partout, a tiré tout partout Kounia dans les instances de pouvoir et le ça yo ouais que eh bien mais ça qui yo te dit mais ça qu'a privé Kounia au lieu que c'est Eminent Persons Group, Kounia c'est le premier ministre de la CARICOM qui commençait à négocier et proposition yo mandé nous voyez proposition nous voyez proposition nous gagne l'autre groupe qui voyait proposition et autres et comme moi dit à partir de proposition ça gon synthèse qui fait Kounye, quel est le problème? Le problème c'est que c'est vraiment pas CARICOM qui peut jouer une solution pour nous, c'est nous pour jouer une solution, peut-être pas nous. Mais quel est le réel problème? c'est que même là, nous jouons une solution, peut-être pas nous, nous avons une histoire, justement, que je pensais tout professeur ça yo, et parler de yo de manière très, très, très claire, que nous pas vraiment indépendants. Là, jouer une solution, côté wap jouer une cob, côté wap jouer un soutien, côté wap jouer tout bagay ça yo, qui est important pour nous capables d'aller de l'avant. Donc, d'une manière ou d'une autre, ce sont des partenaires, mais ils n'ont pas considéré tête comme partenaires. Et le leadership que nous gagnons en Haïti, ils n'ont pas jamais considéré comme de partenaires. Ils ont même considéré, et juste pour me donner une anecdote rapide, mal non réunion dans l'ambassade américaine, côté gon haïtien, un avocat qui a dit que États-Unis, c'est pas nous lier, c'est lui pour sauver nous. Tellement honte nous t'es envie rentrer en bataille. Donc, ou gen ça tout. Donc, attention. Oui, nous besoin affirmer que c'est solution pas nous que lié, mais faut que nous chita, nous parler avec deux partenaires différents et en pile là-dedans, c'est qui pouvoir qu'on gagne, qui
Merci.
force qu'on gagne. Donc, c'est discussion ça yo qu'a fait. Donc,
Merci.
voilà, je souhaitais que je
Merci.
un minimum
Oui.
de réponses à deux questions ça yo.
Merci, merci. M'te dit, il faut nous poser questions qui coûtent. M'te dit, il faut nous faire commentaires qui coûtent. Même t'ai dit, faut répondre sur coûte tout pour nous capable bénéficier. Ouais, et si t'as parlé ça. Et Paul Adolphe, je vais être pour. M'a dit, nous avons 10 minutes. Je dis, dans 10 minutes, il faut nous salle là parce que nous avons l'autre activité là. Ouais, donc, c'est pour nous que salle pas, non?
Merci, n'a salué tout le monde. N'a salué les panélistes et à la papote, n'a excusez-nous que nous ne pouvons pas poser chaque monde là dans nos questions, mais nous pensons intervention chaque monde là de très intéressant. Mes questions là, surtout pour Madame Kleska. Vous parlez de Montana qui, depuis 2 ans, a penché sur le problème pays d'Haïti. Toute réunion faite, nous comptons toute qualité de réunion faite. Journée aujourd'hui, nous avons un conseil présidentiel. Est-ce qu'on dit nous qui ça conseil présidentiel ça a pensé fait? Est-ce que nous avons une idée déjà? Ou bien on pour chita encore pour discuter? Parce que déjà, nous avons demandé 3 jours pour préparer. Donc, qui ça qui t'a réglé pendant toute discussion que tu as faite? Côté nous, journée aujourd'hui, nous avons un conseil présidentiel. Qui ça conseil présidentiel ça a gagné pour le peuple haïtien dans le côté? Merci.
Pardon, m'a répété ça me dit au début, là me parlé de conseil présidentiel là, un conseil présidentiel de 9 moun, ça fait kounien, y a entré dans 3e semaine de travail, donc ça fait 2 semaines y a travail et dans le travail qu'a fait là, éventuellement c'est sous 3 grands dossiers que yo tap travail pendant période ça. Yo tap travail justement sur un accord. Parce que ça qui comme te dit, c'est pas vraiment un accord. C'était 2-3 bagailles que vous avez gagné, mais un accord. Comment pour nous aller de l'avant? Et qui savent, qui organe même, qui peut mettre en place, tant coup, une sorte de commission justice et réconciliation, tant coup, et justement, une conférence nationale, lancer conférence nationale, et lancer tout conseil électoral provisoire. Donc, l'accord, qui ça accord, là, sous qui ça nous d'accord? Ça, c'est une. Deuxième point, c'est effectivement fonctionnement conseil là, puisque c'est 9 moun nous connaît qui fait partie de conseil là, et dans 9 moun yo, il y a 7 qui ont droit de vote et yo 2 qui c'est observateur. Yo décidé que décision yo a pris par consensus, ce qui est déjà quelque chose d'important, sauf que décision pour qui moun qui a présidé conseil là et qui moun qui poil et premier ministre. Donc, président conseil là, éventuellement, son sorte de coordonnateur, gestionnaire et autres, conseil des ministres et autres. C'est pas du tout président de la République parce que c'est conseil là qui sont conseil présidentiel. Et le dernier point, c'est question la feuille de route pour conseil là, pour lui au moins une première feuille de route là, pour son feuille de route pour les 100 premiers jours. de qui ça qu'a fait tant au niveau sécurité, au niveau justice sociale, au niveau humanitaire aussi, de bagaille qui est très important. Donc, voilà, donc ça moi-même, moi, t'as dit dans un laps de temps très bref. Donc, Kounye, c'est aller de l'avant pour que yo capable d'accord et signer justement accord là pour que ça capable aller de l'avant, pour que ça soit reconnu comme étant c'est eux même qui en place, moniteur publié au moins accord là et peut-être la feuille de route ou peut-être partie fonctionnement pour que yo ka commencer travail en réalité. Voilà, merci.
Moi senti dans mi-temps crise nou hier, gon l'aviron Dédé qu'a fait, ouais, et communauté nationale, internationale là, et avec yon parti dans l'élite économique là, ouais, et l'autre élite qui a fait résistance pour pas un changement dans le pays, yon non l'aviron Dédé avec nous, et tout autant nous pas arriver à côté pour nous tabailler un plan qui n'en gouille, un plan qui permet de continuer à faire ça dans le pays, ouais, et il a continué à rouler toujours, rouler dans la farine. Qui possibilité nous gagnons pour nous-mêmes nous tourner au pas pour l'autre direction avec crise là? Et c'est pour nous tout, oui.
I'd like to answer in English for the other
That's
people who
fine.
speak.
That's fine. That's fine.
I do want to just, I don't know if I have a specific answer as much as to say, we keep saying, I just want to point out, we keep saying the international community as if it's the entire world. We have to be clear that the international community we're talking about is the US, France, Canada, alongside Brazil and Mexico, who decided to do this, to call this meeting. And so we have to ask under what power that they can actually call a meeting on Haiti without Haitians deciding who gets to be part of the international community that helps Haitians. And for example, you have the incoming president of CELAC, the Central American and Latin American countries, Zamora Castro, who basically said that, you know, military intervention is not healthy, it's not good for the region, it's not good for Haiti. Why doesn't she get together? And so she said she was going to get together with the presidents of St. Vincent, Grenada, Colombia, and work with Haitian people to figure something out. My point is, if we still listen to this idea, if we believe this idea that the international community is only comprised of these three white countries, and France, which has no business whatsoever to have a say in anything about Haiti, all the way in this hemisphere, to be part of our conversation, or to have Haiti, to have the US and Canada as part of the discussion, it's a non-starter. CARICOM, who never really had a relationship with Haiti, who's condescending. The countries of CARICOM don't care about Haiti. Haiti did not become a member of CARICOM until 2002. A lot of people did not want Haiti to be part of CARICOM. Look how they treat our Haitian migrants in the Bahamas, in Guyana, and so on and so forth. So until we recognize that this conversation that we're having, saying this international community, this international community, that, until we recognize that these are not the legitimate people to be having conversations with, we can't move forward. And I want to say this, and I wish the Haitian elite, the people that are being made part of the conversation, would consider this. The other thing quickly I want to say is, people, the condition to be part of the conversation with CARICOM is a foreign military intervention. For the Haitian elite participating in this conversation to accept this condition, to me, is treasonous, because this military intervention is one that is not under the UN. There's no law protecting Haitian people. They're coming in arbitrarily with Kenyans who don't speak Creole or French. And this, to me, for the US to make that the primary condition to be part of the conversation is a problem that we need to really talk about. So I'm just going to...
Thank you. Jean Refusé?
Question c'est pour Dr. Fouron. Bon, Dr. Pierre, il y a l'aspect historique, aspect politique question avec un pile maestria.
Mais, docteur Fou, on connaît une spécialité aussi, transnationalisme. Qui, par exemple, pas senti, même dans l'intervention, monde de qui c'est fait, etc. Qui lecture fait, etc. dans la recherche, dans le contexte transnationalisme, docteur Fou.
Merci beaucoup pour question ça. C'est très intéressant, mais problème à diaspora, c'est pour nous pas dans le premier rang, dans chercher solution pour Haïti. En pile, nous, à l'étranger pendant des années, des années, des années. En pile, nous fait à l'étranger. Je pense que nous-mêmes dans la diaspora, nous avons porté aide nous à Haïti, mais c'est le monde qui est en Haïti qui n'a pas souffert de situation en Haïti, qui pour proposer solution, et là, proposer solution, pour nous-mêmes dans la diaspora, pour analyser solution et proposition que vous faites, et puis pour nous porter contribution. Mais nous ne pouvons pas prendre de l'avant, puisque nous pas nous longtemps d'ailleurs. Bien sûr, nous intéressés à Haïti, nous continuer tout prendre nouvelle en Haïti, tout ça, mais façon de penser, nous, façon d'agir, nous, ils ont changé en pile pendant l'immigration. Donc, je pense que nous-mêmes, c'est pour nous prendre, pour nous rester derrière en Haïti, ils ont décidé qui gens pour changer la situation. Et là, ils mettent une proposition qui de poids, nous sommes capables d'analyser et puis nous sommes capables de porter support nous à ça qu'a fait en Haïti. En puis l'Haïtien dans la diaspora, le président d'Haïti, il voulait aller en Haïti pour le ministre. Je pense que tout ça, il n'y a pas d'intérêt pays d'Haïti. Et nous avons des grands exemples.
Haïti.
Right? Nous avons un exemple de diaspora que nous en Haïti, au lieu d'aider Haïti, c'est il fait le plus mal. Il participe dans la corruption, il participe dans l'impunité, il supporte le status quo qui crée un problème extraordinaire en Haïti.
Merci.
C'est pas rôle nous pour nous donner une solution, rôle nous c'est porter support à eux-mêmes.
Merci, merci. Nous avons l'autre question.
Merci en pile. Question moi c'est pour toute famille parce que vraiment apprécié historique position nous ba avec lui avec ou même tout messieurs. Nous gagnons époque coloniale, nous gagnons mon ton coup barbecue, yo vle mettre ton coup dessaline, et bien nous gagnons gang avec bandits capturer peuple dans nation nous, mais nous pas vraiment ouais en révolution continuer pour nous ouais n'a mettre attaque là sur moun cap mettre nous sous problème là. Nous ouais moun yo cap mouri, cap immigrer à l'autre pays, et bien n'a perdu force nous. So question me te vle demander c'est dans analyse historique nous fait yo. Qui ça nous est dans jour modernisé, journée jodi, qui ça nous est dans révolution, peuple a fait pour tête yo, parce que n'a peut-être parler de démocratie, on va de voter, mais bagay ça c'est une façon capitaliste avec impérialiste qui mène nous toujours dans le même genre. Mais là, nous avons un président qui décide la demander compte, demander pour réparation en bas UN ou n'importe monde, yo fout prendre li mène dans Afrique et bien yo déposer et bien yo mettez l'autre monde. So même si c'est un Ariel Henry n'a dit pour remplacer pour nous mettre l'autre monde, si li pas suspend Jacques avec souffrance nous souffrir. Et bien plein de femmes nous parler sous Jacques n'a passé un monde qui mourir. Tout bagage ça qui passé c'est un esclavage lié. Donc nous te fait une révolution en 1804 là. Et bien nous te dans esclavage là, te ka dit pire là. So pour qui ça dans journée jodi si nous pas révolution qui réponse nous ka bay peut-être ça eh bien pas commander nous pour solution mais qui ça nous ka bay ton comme contribution dans ça nous ka qui ka vraiment plus fait plus bien ou pour peuple yo ka fait peut-être yo Jean nous te dit parce que en dernier point me vle dit ou te mentionné palestinien yo même si on a demandé pour ceasefire ça pas suspend
année yo passé en bas misère, moun yo capturé yo al nan pays yo. Nous fait 100 ans seulement depuis révolution nous. Nous pas fait 300, même j'en en terme nous dit comme ça c'est pas blanc qui baille nous en liberté nous, c'est nous-mêmes qui prenons les. So non façon ça bam nan révolution. Merci.
Hi, IT. It's nice to see you. So I'll just quickly give it a historical answer. So when we're thinking about how Haitian revolutionaries got the equipment necessary to fight against the French, the Spanish, the British, where were they getting these weapons? There were strategic alliances made between Dessalines, Toussaint, Christophe with partners on the global stage. And to bring in the question of women, one of the rarely told stories about Dessalines' wife, Marie-Claire Élise, is that she and her friendship circle sold salt to French troops in order to acquire weapons for the Haitian Revolutionary Army. So when you're thinking about it in that sort of context, was she aiding the French or was she aiding her husband in his revolutionary agenda? There are ways that we need to think about history that are very specific, that are very nuanced, so that we can take examples from people like Marie-Claire Élise and make strategic decisions. But I am in complete agreement with Dr. Fouan as a privileged member of the Haitian diaspora. The most revolutionary thing that I can do is raise awareness around the historical context and shed light on what's going on. As an activist, you, IT, who works in Brooklyn, that is what I offer up to you. Thank you.
Merci en pile. Merci en pile. Et gen moun kap suivre dans internet, ouais, et yo voye question ba nou et m'appli yon question sa yo, question en anglais. Many people use 2004 as the point of reference. But shouldn't we go back to 1994 when 20,000 US troops invaded Haiti under the cover of bringing democracy back? At the same time, the economic elite took total control of the Haitian economy.
Now, I think I do use 2004 as a point of reference, primarily because it's a shift in U.S. strategy. I think the question is absolutely right. I do think the 1993 invasion of Haiti was a problematic one. Absolutely. I think the bringing in the 20,000 troops and staying there, the U.S. was able to maintain its power, and the economic elite got richer. But I do think 2004 is important because that did not look like an occupation, right? It was this is a shift in U.S. strategy in terms of using the UN in particular, but also a multinational group of people to come in and do this. And I think 2011 is actually key. 2010, when the US changed the election results, if you all know this, changed the election results to get the PHTK party into power. And when they changed the first round and got Martelly in power, which actually really opened up the space for no more elections, which completely helped destroy the Haitian state. So we have to remember this. Like in 2004, we had more than 7,000 elected officials. By 2023, last year, we have 0. And I think there's something critical about that 20-year period, not to discount the 1993. I do think that's the beginning. But 2011 is when the elite really got into a lot of money. The PHTK party helped in terms of like increasing the militias. Look, I was reading WikiLeaks papers just yesterday. They're complaining about Martelly having armed militias in the countryside, trying to recreate Tonton Macoute. So we have to think about the bringing together of the economic elite, the political elite, alongside U.S. arms and support to keep this right-wing political party in power for the past 12 years. And so I think it's important to think about 1992, but I do think there's a shift in policy in 2020, in 2004 that actually helped make it easier for the elite to even get richer, but also for the international community to be part of the occupation without the rest of the world really noticing that part.
Thank you. Merci.
Okay, hello everyone. Bonsoir tout quatre panélistes yo. Moi bien content moi que majorité moun qui dans panel là dans moi masse là c'est femme yo yé. Moi toujours a fait des déclarations ça que les que nous t'a pris indépendance nous mesdames nous pas t'a fait zone nous t'es dans combat tout nous t'es gain zam nan mais nous t'a tiré tout seul bagay moi et Montana pour moi c'est une conférence nationale que c'est ça fait me camper avec lui parce que tu as toutes différentes parties dans le pays qui chita ensemble. Nous sommes totalement contre que nous chita avec Ariel Henry parce que illégal, il tout pas bon yo et puis nous chita avec lui. Nous connaissons que comme ministre a dit, il n'a pas passé dans la farine parce qu'il n'a pas aucune légitimité. On seul bagaille dans Montana et voir peuple haïtien que nous disons notre travail pour lui, on pas tant de lasser avec étudiants qui le futur pays, on pas tant de assez. Et jusqu'à présent, c'est notre point ça que nous y plan à parler, mais pose vivre ça qui responsable de présent et futur pays, on pas tant de du tout dans la question Montana. On doit et pas correct, mais pas tant de assez. Si vous êtes là, vous êtes très silencieux. Et sous question de fait et pour pays avancer avec violence qu'a fait là, en pile parti politique nous pas mettre au pied du mur. Pas un parti politique supposé là pour lui défendre tout groupe, il dit c'est désidérat à peuple là que lui pral défendre, il supposé un plan avec peuple là pour lui défendre désidérat aller. Affaire de CARICOM nous mettre blier bagay ça, affaire de Kenya nous mettre blier bagay ça parce que Kenya lui-même il a un problème de fémicide, chaque jour une femme qui fait cardiaque sur lui touyer en Kenya. Donc il n'y a pas aucune position morale et nous connaissons tout que les États-Unis avec Canada avec toute l'autre cap fourré bouche dans affaire Haïti, il n'y a pas une position morale pour venir dire nous ça pour nous faire. Donc toute bagay là, il toujours été exactement côté il était toujours hier, non mais nous pour nous chita quitter et nous connaissons en pile dans nous c'est dans classe petit bourgeois c'est nous qui parler pour Haïti tout le temps et classe ça lui fait ou bien réactionnaire ou bien révolutionnaire tout pays a apatride nous gagne pas nous tout OK et c'est ça mon bien content que dans tout ça qui était fait dans jodi pas gain flageller tête nous c'est pas bon etc. quand tout le temps m'attendait m'a gouma avec mon yo. Donc merci beaucoup pour présentation donc bon travail pour nous chiter ensemble pour nous faire plan yo.
Merci, Justine. Merci, Justine. Et bon, oui, c'était plus son commentaire, c'est pas ton question. Oui,
étudiants ensemble avec les...
oui. Il y a des gens qui posent des questions toujours et une question dans la salle là, tu me prends l'avant, après ça m'a tourné. Oh, Fabio, non? Moi.
I just want to say a couple of words. One is that the genocide that is going on in Gaza is a towering crime. But what the U.S. and France have done to the people of Haiti is one of the most extreme and outrageous forms of mass murder and suffering that's gone on in this planet. It's made in the USA. And this idea of yet again another occupation force going to Haiti happens over and over again. How many times has it happened? And the idea of then having a puppet-backed so-called free election that gets the same enablers of this imperialist system in there has got to end. And I'd like to talk to anybody afterwards about this question of getting organized now for real revolution in Haiti. Not a change in the faces, but change in the system and change in the whole way things are related to. So after all, I'd love to talk. I know some of the speakers here who are speaking in Creole. I really agreed with what they were saying to the extent I understood them. But I hope that we can really work together for this real revolution there, and people here in this country should support it.
Merci en pile, merci tout panélistes pour bon travail qu'on a fait, gourmet pour pays nous, même les petits désaccords nous. Et question c'est plus pour Montana encore. Et nous avons l'impression de différents leaders, même la Montana, de l'autre côté, qui fait comprendre que même là, il y a le conseil là, Et c'est pas forcément CARICOM qui pourra le décider, c'est CARICOM, c'est un facilitateur, etc. Et que il pourra discuter toutes conditions que impérialiste américain veut aider, etc. Ça a proposé, comment il a formé conseil, ça a voulu. Son besoin qu'on est, est-ce que Montana officiellement d'accord avec une condition, essentiellement, première condition pour y envoyer force multinationale Kenya dans le pays, et on connaît pas un pile rapport ça qui passé, il a discuté l'autre bagage, mais condition ça, est-ce que Montana officiellement accepté, ouais, et pour faire conseil là, pour, enfin.
Si je peux répondre, et au début, je pense que les modérateurs l'ont dit accord du 21, du 5 mars, je dit que c'est
11
ça que CARICOM t'a proposé, mais que groupe cap travail yo, négociateur yo, avec moun que yo mandaté yo, ap travail sous yon accord. Et dans accord que brouillon accord que moi, ça a pas là-dedans. Et moi-même, qui dans Montana, nous prenons position de manière très claire à plusieurs reprises depuis accord là, que nous pas d'accord avec justement intervention de forces et que ces forces Kenya, que ces forces multinationales. Nous pas d'accord, nous fait connaître ça. Ça que yo proposé, CARICOM proposé, c'est CARICOM qui proposé. Mais li pas signé d'une part, et deuxièmement, comme dit nous-mêmes qui ici en Haïti, dans 9 groupes qui a travaillé, n'a proposé un accord que nous-mêmes, moi-même, moi, dis que moi, avec yeux, moi. Donc, ça veut dire que son accord que nous-mêmes, Haïtiens, n'a proposé et parti troupe pas là-dedans. Ça, c'est une. Deuxièmement, je pense que c'est important tout pour dire que mandaté, yo, ça veut dire moun que nous voyons, moun que tel autre parti voyait, youn que tel autre regroupement voyait, tout ça, éventuellement, il y a bien pour yo travail pour compte yo. Et kounye, qui ça que yo poil d'accord sous li, autre que ça qui proposé dans accord que nous-mêmes nous mettons devant yo, que nous travaillons avec yo. Et pour yo, ça me pas connaît puisque me pas moun qui mandaté. Mais position nous, c'est que nous pas pour une intervention. Et position nous très claire depuis le début. Voilà ce que m'a dit. Merci.
Merci en pile. Et nous semblons nous arriver dans bout nous, dans bouti bout la bout. Ouais, gen parole et dans point temps. Nous sommes capables de continuer à parler et continuer à faire commentaires. Mais pour nous camper là, nous avons dit tout le monde qui a participé. Non, si tu as parlé ça, je dis merci en pile. Nous portons une grosse contribution dans aider nous comprendre ce qui a passé en Haïti et m'espérer, ouais, et petit pays, et tout le monde qui a goumé pour une autre qualité Haïti capable de jouer une chemin et pour y arriver côté masse peuple a besoin d'arriver. Merci en pile.
Merci. Merci beaucoup de l'invitation. Et puis merci et les docteurs Pierre, les deux docteurs Pierre et puis docteur Fouran. Plaisir vous être avec nous. Merci.
Merci. C'est un plaisir tout pour moi.
We thank you, panelists, for joining us. And we want to say on behalf of Dr. Marie Lee Surratt, our fearless leader, who couldn't be here with us because, she had an important conference to go to. We thank her for her leadership and as well as, for getting everyone here actually to come here. So we thank her even though she's not here. Thank you so much, guys.
Merci.
Thank you. Bye.